welcome to the Change Guru. This is where we get our change on. And speaking of change, have you ever been in a circumstance where change is the last thing that you want? How do we cope with unwanted change? By that, I mean maybe you've moved somewhere that you don't want to move. Maybe you're in a job that you don't want to do. Maybe you have a circumstance where you're around people that you don't want to be around. But you have to cope with these. And these things happen through our lives. And I actually like to look at them as kind of lessons. What can we learn from them? Because there's no way getting around them. And you can either take one of two attitudes. You can take the one that makes you feel all anxious and you're not being your best self, or you can take the attitude of treating it as a kind of adventure and seeing if it's a way that can actually make you emerge a better person. So I want to give you 3 resources to use whenever you're in this kind of circumstances that I think are going to help. I think that the first place to start when you realize you're in a circumstance that is not a place that you want to be is just to really play the observer and ask yourself, okay, what kind of role am I playing here? Roles to look out for are the victim, being passive aggressive. You know, these are the kind of circumstances that also can bring you into new people coming into your life, or new opportunities, new situations. And good people can smell a victim, can smell a passive aggressive person a mile away, and they will avoid hanging with that person. So you want to be aware that the energy that you're putting out there could be bringing stuff, either repelling stuff away from you or bringing stuff that you kind of don't want to you. So it's really important to take that observer role. How do you know if you're playing the victim? If you can, just kind of, go backtrack on past conversations. What are the things you say to yourself? What are the things that you say to other people? Look at old emails you've sent. See how you relate to other people. How do you explain what you're going through? Passive aggressive is maybe if, just maybe making someone pay psychologically for the problem that you've landed into. All of those kind of things are not the way that you want to be. So how do you get out of them? I think those are times where you actually need to talk to someone, because either unless you have a really good way of shaking yourself out of it, can help to actually talk through things with someone, a coach, a therapist, a group, just somebody or a group situation where you can kind of explain where you're at, really being clear and being honest, but also being open to having your language challenged, having your thought process challenged, and be given tools on how to talk about what you're going through without coming off like the victim. So just observing yourself is really important right now. I've said this one so many times, and I hope it doesn't get boring, but it seems to come up again and again. All the changes that we go through, all the challenges that we go through in life are actually opportunities to grow, to explore, to see what we're made of, to have an adventure. We've been brought up to feel like change, any spanner that comes into our life, anything that rocks our boat, it shouldn't happen. We really expect things to go a certain way, and when something happens, or in a circumstance where we have to sit with that's uncomfortable, we kind of freak. But if you have an attitude that life is happening for you, not to you, it gives the power back to you. So I really love looking at life now. Whenever challenges happen, whenever I'm in a circumstance that I really have to be in, even if it feels uncomfortable, I really like the idea of asking myself, how can I see this as an adventure? What's in it for me? What is the growth? What's the learning? What can I do to strengthen my psychological muscle to really embrace the situation and let it, be my time to shine, be my time to rock, versus be this time where it's going to make me shrink. So treating the challenging circumstance that you're in and that you have to endure is actually an adventure, is actually something happening for you is extremely powerful. There is nothing that makes me feel better when I'm in a challenging situation than helping people, being of service, having a servant's heart. I think a lot of times when we are feeling very challenged, we feel like, it kind of becomes all about us. It's easy to become self-centered, but when you give something of yourself to someone else, it almost is like a little bit of the burden being lifted on you. And I don't mean having to use a lot of energy that you're trying to conserve right now, going out of your way, doing something you don't want to do just to help. It can be as simple as just calling a family member who you haven't spoken to for a long time and just telling them hello, you love them, and you're thinking of them. It can be as simple as just, sending an email to someone you haven't written to for a while, or bringing some cookies to your neighbor, just doing something extra, buying someone a cup of coffee, buying someone a coffee who's behind you in line, just paying it forward, just doing weird things, anything that is just giving of yourself a little bit. I think in these times when we are in a challenging circumstance, it can feel so much all about me that we can just go into this place where it's hard to kind of break out of that. Extending yourself just that little bit, helping someone, actually puts like a little bit of a balance in it and makes you feel like, okay, I didn't waste the day just thinking about what a crappy situation I'm in right now. I actually did something. I extended myself. I made a difference to someone. And just having that attitude of service can be an absolute lifesaver when you're going through a challenging situation. So those are my ideas for getting through a challenging situation. I'd love to know, what do you do when you're in a circumstance that you can't change? How do you make it better for yourself? I'd love it if you just post your comment below and tell me what you think. Tell me what you do. Now, if you like my videos, I'd love you to get on my newsletter. People on my newsletter get to find out things first about what I'm up to. They are just loaded with free tips, inspiration, and often every now and then a little goodie or two to help you really rock and roll after 40. All right, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.